Darth Vader, Yoda, two of the greatest Force users in all of Star Wars. And at their best, both of them can make a pretty strong case for the most powerful being in all the galaxy. And today, we're going to put that to the test, using both of these characters in their primes, and including expanded universe lore, not just the new Disney Canon. We're going to see which one comes out on top. And really, is the fight between them even close? Let's get to it. Starting out, let's take a little closer look at Darth Vader. And the first thing that we got to recognize is that if we truly wanted to use Vader in his prime, then we would use this version of Vader. Anakin Skywalker was the most powerful Jedi in over a millennium, and he had unprecedented power in the Force. By Revenge of the Sith, he was more powerful than anyone on the Jedi Council, even Master Yoda. Even Darth Sidious had to concede that Anakin was potentially more powerful than him. And during the duel on Mustafar, this was Vader at arguably the height of his power. He's the chosen one. But then he was defeated by Obi-Wan, he caught on fire, had like half his body cut off by this point, and was put inside the cybernetic suit keeping him alive. And according to George Lucas, lost a lot of his power and potential in the process. Now that he's half man and half machine, he lost a lot of the ability in the Force because there just isn't as much human left. So where before he had the potential to be twice as powerful as the Emperor, now he's operating at maybe 80% of the Emperor's power, more on par with Darth Maul and Count Dooku. It also messed him up as a lightsaber fighter too. He lost and had to relearn a lot of the skill and ability that he had as Anakin, and definitely lost all that self-confidence that he had. Of course, there are other things to suggest that this isn't the case at all, and Darth Vader actually did get more powerful after putting on the suit, and that his prime was really around Return of the Jedi. Like, he lost his first fight against Obi-Wan Kenobi, first few fights really, but by the time that New Hope rolls around, well, Vader was powerful enough to beat him. And it wasn't just the fact that Obi-Wan was older now and couldn't fight as well with a lightsaber. One, because Obi-Wan had killed Darth Maul while in this same state. But two, because they were also having a Force battle at the same time during this fight. We just couldn't see that playing out with our eyes. But old Ben was wearing out and losing the fight before the fight even began. Just by being around Vader's presence in the Force was enough to tire Obi-Wan out. He had been growing more and more powerful in the dark side of the Force, tapping into a whole new power stream than before. And he's actually come to believe that his injuries only made him stronger and increased his connection to the Force. His pain fed his hate, and his anger, his hate turned into strength, suggesting he's still becoming even more powerful as Vader. So definitely a debate there. But honestly, just because we'll have access to a lot more cool stuff, we're gonna say his prime is Return of the Jedi. Darth Vader has been consistently called one of the deadliest Sith in history, one of the most powerful entities in the galaxy, and someone with the potential to rival or even possibly overthrow the Emperor himself. And this kinda did come to fruition. He did kill the Emperor, even if the death didn't really stick. His Force power manifests itself in a lot of different ways, from telepathy to creating Force barriers or amping himself with Force rage, but his primary has to be telekinesis. He's able to tear apart AT-ATs, bring down trees the size of buildings, or even bring down huge buildings themselves. His raw power is absolutely insane. And he's not necessarily just a bull in a china shop either. Darth Vader has pretty substantial control over everything around him. He's even able to force choke someone from all the way across the galaxy. But it doesn't just stop there. Outside of his insane connection with the Force, Vader is also a tremendously gifted and deadly fighter. He's impossibly strong, and he can use this in a fight, easily overpowering other Jedi or lightsaber fighters. He's surprisingly fast. Even with his robotic armor, he can block pretty much all attacks coming his way, and it's even been said that he's faster than the Emperor himself. Then where Vader shines is his durability, which makes sense. He's already missing half of his body and replaced it with metal. And even before that, he was still pretty good at enduring pain. Vader can legit walk through blaster fire, walk through explosions. It almost doesn't even faze him for the most part. He was even able to take Palpatine's Force Lightning. This is an attack powerful enough to have Maul crying on the floor and begging for mercy. Maul, the guy who feeds off of pain to make him grow stronger in the Force, and survived literally being cut in half. Palpatine's lightning had him screaming out, but when Sidious hit Vader with enough lightning to make his skeleton show up through the armor, I don't even know how that one's possible, well, Vader just kept on pushing, determined to kill him. Then there's just straight his skill. He's the best duelist the Empire has, and fights with a unique and unpredictable style that actually takes bits and elements from all combat techniques. He got more and more skilled between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and then between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, to the point where it was said he was unparalleled in terms of pure skill. He had no equal, putting him above the likes of Obi-Wan, Luke, and maybe even the Emperor himself. Master Yoda is pretty much the quintessential Jedi Master. Even though he's 900 years old, I would actually argue that his prime is still in his later years of life. Not late enough to where he's just chilling on Dagobah, because he got a little crazy there near the end, but I would say during the Clone Wars, when he was the Grand Master of the Jedi Order. Now this might not be his physical prime, he's still like 800 years old or something, but I think it's when he hits the perfect combination of wisdom and experience, lightsaber skill, and Force power. Master Yoda is considered to be maybe the most extraordinarily powerful Jedi Master in all of history. He's considered to be the most skilled and experienced Jedi in the Order, with a combination of his wisdom, inner strength, and unparalleled knowledge of the Force. Well, he could overcome nearly any challenge the Jedi Order would face. In fact, it's its knowledge of the Force that actually made him just as powerful as Darth Sidious himself. Now, even though Yoda is small and not very physically intimidating, there is this little thing called Force Valor, basically an umbrella term that refers to the Jedi's ability to increase themselves physically so they're able to perform legit superhuman acts. And Yoda was unparalleled in increasing his physical abilities with the Force. He's got amazing strength, but really surprising speed. He can move as a blur, evade attacks, and regularly outreact opponents. Now there's a Force power called Tutaminis, where you can absorb or deflect energy. And while Vader and other Jedi have demonstrated it in the past, Yoda is exceptionally skilled in this ability. So much so that he's able to absorb and counter Force lightning. First from Count Dooku, but then even from Darth Sidious himself. He's also very, very powerful in Force telekinesis. With just a flick of the wrist or a wave of his hand, he can send people flying all around, pick up starfighters, throw around hundreds of battle droids, push back gigantic separatist landing craft. And Yoda can do all of this against other Force users too. like stopping attacks from Count Dooku. He can easily hold back a surge of interest. He can even stop attacks from Darth Sidious or send the Emperor flying across the room with a push. But while Yoda might especially be known for his power and Force abilities, I don't think it just stops there. He's an absolute master with a lightsaber in his hand, and his unparalleled ability to draw power from the Force only made him even that much more lethal in a lightsaber duel. He was a master of all 7 lightsaber styles, but Yoda was the master of Form 4, the Teru. That form is particularly known for its focus on all-out offense using speed and agility, and requires the fighter to use the Force to enhance their movements, which is what made it perfect for Yoda. So while it was rare for Yoda to find himself in a lightsaber fight, his skill made him a match for anyone. He surpassed even Master Mace Windu in skill, regularly beating him in sparring matchups. He beat his former apprentice Count Dooku. Palpatine was even convinced that if Yoda had fought Vader on Mustafar instead of Kenobi, well, Yoda would have messed Anakin up even worse than Obi-Wan did. And that's saying something. So yeah, there's a reason why Yoda was considered to be the greatest lightsaber master the Jedi Order had ever seen. So, who wins here? Well, I think it's gotta be Yoda. Really, no question, I think it's Yoda. See, Darth Vader gets the short end of the stick when it comes to both lightsaber skill and Force powers. And man, that is not to say that he isn't incredible at both of those things, but it is to say that his mechanical body just limits him a bit too much here. Anakin was supposed to have the most Force potential out of everyone in Star Wars. He lost that on Mustafar. Now, instead of being twice as powerful as the Emperor, he's just 80% of what the Emperor is. More on par with Darth Maul than someone like Sidious, while Yoda is a true rival to Palpatine. Same with lightsaber skill. Those injuries on Mustafar and his new mechanical body really limited him going forward. Where before Anakin was maybe the best fighter in the Order, his new body was much clunkier, slower, stiffer, and less mobile. Sure, it had the benefit of being stronger and tougher, but it still forced Vader to basically relearn how to fight and learn how to fight in a different way. And even though he got really great at it, still never quite reached the heights of what he was before. And this idea of Darth Vader being a weaker fighter than Yoda does play out in the story too. Palpatine said that if Yoda had gone on to face Anakin on Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan, well, Yoda would have messed him up even worse, probably killed him. And that was when Vader was still in his Anakin body, when he was still a better, more agile fighter. Probably go even worse for him now that he's limited by his cybernetic body. Darth Vader is like the quintessential Sith Lord, the one we all know and love, but he's not beating Grand Master Yoda here. Not even close. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.